Hey everybody! In today's video, I am going to talk about the concept of masterboards, how you can use gel press prints to create masterboards, and most importantly, how you can embellish your gel press prints that maybe lack a little focus or detail, just with simple pens, pencils, tools like that, and what masterboards are used for in the card making process and how they can make your card making faster and more interesting. I have a stack of gel press prints here that I love. I've always loved the colors and everything in here, but they just lack a little bit of focus, as you can see here. It's good to have prints that have like dark areas like this and lighter areas for what we're about to do, where there's a little bit of contrasting colors. But until I came up with the idea of creating more detailed masterboards, these prints really weren't making it into any of my projects. So what is a masterboard? This is a term that's used for creating one large piece of art with repetitive stamp images, etc., or in our case, gel press printing, and then cutting that down to use in multiple projects. So if you are an old school stamper, that might remind you of something we used to do all the time, which was called a one-sheet wonder. And we would take an 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, stamp different images all over it, just randomly, harmonious color schemes, etc. And then we would cut that up and we would make dozens and dozens of cards just from one piece of paper. Well, a masterboard is the same kind of thing. It's just a large piece of art that can be cut down into multiple little art pieces. One great use for a masterboard, especially with gel press printing, is artist trading coins or artist trading cards. And the reason that these are really good for that is because you're creating a print that has all the same paint colors throughout it and some of the same patterns. If you're in a swap, for example, and you're making 20 artist trading coins or artist trading cards, all of your cards look harmonious together. If you put them all in a pile, you would know they all came from the same piece of art, but every single one is different. So that's what a masterboard really helps you do, is create a bunch of really unique pieces of art that are held together by a theme. And that theme can be the print that you see in the background here with that snakeskin stencil. It can be the colors that are the same. So that's what a masterboard does for you. For me, I like to create 2-page spreads in my art journal out of masterboards because I like opening the book and seeing that harmony between the 2 pages that are open. So these are great once you've finished embellishing them, which is what I'm doing in this video, to just create really nice, really quick and easy art journal foundations for whatever you want to do in your journal that day. Now on this particular print, I had these cool little people. This is kind of an unusual stencil that I picked up in Santa Fe. And they just weren't prominent enough in the original gel press print. So just with a black pen, a white pen, and a pencil, I'm going to bring these 2 little figures on the right out just a little bit. Now, I thought the snakeskin stencil looked like cobblestones. So I'm going to put, mortar between the cobblestones with the black pen and bring a little bit of drama into that pattern in the front. So you can just move your eye around your gel press print and just see details when you're thinking about embellishing a print like this that would be lost in the original print. So these are much more prominent with the addition of the black mortar in between them. And then behind them, I did a little bit of like Zentangling, doodling on some of the larger shapes up above them, because to me, it looked like They kind of had ideas coming out of their heads. I don't know, that's just the crazy stuff that I think about when I'm doing this. But when you're doing one of these, it's one, extremely relaxing. It's sort of like Zen tangling. And two, you don't have to focus that hard on it because what needs to be brought out and embellished with pen or detail will become very apparent to you right when you start kind of outlining things and doing some simple embellishment on the print. And so it's a good activity to do if you're like me, you need something to do in front of the TV so you don't fall asleep and have to watch the same show 30 times. So I just take a stack of prints and I go over them with detail. Now, I've seen some prints like this where people have gone and embellished with pen that are extremely detailed, really fine, tiny little details, and that's super fun. So search for some of those online. Mine is a little bit more about theme and outlining certain objects that I want to be really prominent, which you'll see here in a minute. And then here, adding a little shadow with a pencil around these people makes them a little bit more dimensional. And I wanted to really capture these two. I thought they were kind of interesting shapes and foreground items. So pencil is a good subtle way to add shadow or a little bit of depth. And that's what I did with those two. That's the only place I'm going to use pencil here. But I also really like the combination of black and white. A lot of times on a dark print, and this is kind of a dark print, even after I've outlined something in black, I find that outlining that again in white really makes it stand out a little bit. And I do kind of tend to do darker prints. And so that's something in the finished prints that you'll see a lot. But the rest of this print, after I've embellished these two and cut it off for the card that you're going to see in just a minute, the rest of the print I'll embellish more simply, and I'll use that for artist trading coins or for little slivers on the card front like I have here. But it makes for really, really interesting cards, art journals, and trading items. And it just elevates whatever the subject matter on your print is, or if it's strictly pattern and there aren't actual figures like there are here, it makes your print so much more fun with just a little bit of time spent with a couple of different pens, pencils, gel pens, etc. It just adds a whole nother process to the end of gel printing that I really enjoy. So here are some of the samples. These big circles work really nicely. This is another very large open stencil where I could keep the same pattern every time on every element in both of these prints. This was fun. I did this one all in white, and I think it has kind of an underwater feel. And then this one had more prominent patterns at the bottom. So I left the top simple. And here I really went crazy on the little people. So that one's kind of fun. So head over to my blog for more details and projects with these. And thanks so much for watching.